3 after 8. Hello, Sonny Bonanni. Welcome to the Las Vegas City Circuit. My name is Bob O'Connor, and we will be witness to a sensational spectacle, we certainly hope. As you can see, we have 15 racers, 15 contenders, all set and ready for this, the 8th showpiece race of this Breakaway All-Stars season. Sage figure of speeds this year. So is Mex, Sir Lancelot, Tindo. One of the blanked out McLarens is Duke. The other is Tiago Maestro. I am reliably told that the Aston Martin on your screen, whose name is not visible at present, is none other than Tato, aka Loveness. Debo Crocodile is here, as is Man Ray, making it a full complement of Alpine drivers alongside Tindo, of course, and Quali is also here representing Kick Sauber alongside Sir Lancelot. Loney is in the comment section. Good to have you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for making Breakaway your league race of choice on this fine Wednesday evening. It is 8:05 Central African time. We're about to go racing in just a couple of minutes. Let's make it interesting, says Tiago in the comment section. Certainly hope that will be the case. Stay tuned, folks. Qualification and the race in a minute. Right, folks, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we'll take a quick look at how the season is looking as far as the standings are concerned. Now, as far as the standings are concerned, it is Mex leading the charge, 116 points. Duke is not too far behind on 99 points. And we've got a tie for third place. Sage Figure of Speech and Loveness each on 74 points. Then Debo Crocodile on 66 points. Caboza not too far behind, 65 points for them. Donathon Laka, 56 points. They're in 7th place. In 8th is Tiago Maestro, having joined the season later than most of these drivers on 52 points already. So what a charge it's been from the McLaren superstar. Zotal, representing Haas, has 47 points, currently 9th in the standings. Billy Hendricks is 10th on 38 points, and Fendo is 11th in the championship with 33 total points. Fensei has 22 amassed points, currently 12th place. Marshy is 13th on 15 points. Man Ray is 14th on 14 points. The 86ers, Sir Lancelot and Inquali, have 6 points, 2 points, and just 1 point, respectively. Sanley Mazzanti also with just the solitary point. I beg your pardon, Tindo, also with the solitary point. Sanley Mazzanti and the Nuccio have raced this season, but sadly have not accrued championship points. Well, there you have it, folks. Donathon Laka has joined the fray, currently 7th in the standings with 56 total points. This Las Vegas circuit is, of course, very, very exciting to watch, both in qualification, in qualifying, as well as the race proper. Now we can finally see those names. The former champion of the top tier, that being the hero, Titus Malama is here. We're going to see how he will be enjoying the action here tonight. That's your track map, bottom right of your screen. 15, soon to be 16 contenders with Donathon Laka. And as we say that, there you have it. 18 minutes these superstars have to go around the track as fast as they possibly can. And, of course, whosoever sets the fastest time will be, of course, the one to watch very, very closely. Now, which of the RBs is out first? The answer is Caboza, followed closely by Tiago Maestro, who was on a heck of a charge as far as their championship prospects are concerned. Tiago Maestro representing McLaren, collecting 18 points back in Singapore, and then 34 points with that sprint showcase out in Brazil. So Tiago Maestro having a very, very good season ever since joining later than the rest of the contenders. This is Kaboza, however, whose progress has been curtailed in recent weeks. Did do very well, did Kaboza, collecting 26 points back in Spain, but then was a sharp drop to just 6 points collected in Mexico. And then a little bit of a recovery in Singapore, collecting 12 points. Brazil was not a good day for Kaboza. Only 3 championship points collected for the V-Carb superstar. Currently on 65 points is Kaboza, to be 6th in the current championship standings. As you can see, most of the field is now out on track, as we're going to watch to see how Kaboza will fare. They will be the first to set a representative lap. Behind Kaboza is the McLaren duo of Thiago Maestro and, of course, the championship hunting Duke, the pride of Abuja, Nigeria. But as I say that, this is Kaboza driving flat out now towards the final corner, which will eventually begin the first push lap of the night. On board we go now with Kaboza, who will be setting us off on a sense of just how this quali session will be going. Kaboza looking to complete the first sector. It's pedal to the metal, 6th gear that was, into 7th. And of course, the highest gear, you can see that deployment of that electrical energy, that yellow bar on the bottom of the steering wheel. Let's see if he nails this apex, rides the curve a little bit, was careful not to get too acquainted with the wall. 26.175 is the benchmark at the end of the first sector. Oh no, Kaboza loses it. And that is well and surely an abandoned push lap. Let's hop on over now to Thiago Maestro to see how their second sector will fare. This is where Kaboza came unstuck. Not the case for Thiago Maestro. Kaboza abandoning that push lap. Thiago Maestro is still on, still in it, still giving it an almighty push. Now looking to complete the middle sector. Heavy braking point now into the left-hander. That is, of course, turn number 12. Now through the kinks of 13. It's going to be the hard braking zone into 14, coming up at the end of this long DRS stretch. Thiago Maestro will be our benchmark. Of course, the question is, how is Duke doing behind their teammate? Into the braking zone now. This is 14. The right-hander of 15 rides the curve inevitably, does not make acquaintance with the walls. This is the final sector for Duke. What will it be? Kaboza crosses the line. Of course, it's not quite representative. Same goes for Thiago Maestro, who abandons that push lap. Now we hop on over to their teammate, Duke, who is in the hunt for the championship. What'll it be for the McLaren Superstar? The answer is a 131.403. How about that? It seems Kaboza's teammate is going to be next across the line. What'll it be for Mex? 31.371. He pips Duke to provisional pole position with 13.5 minutes of this session to go. Marshy has crossed the line, 32.7. Debo Crocodile has followed suit, 4th quickest. And Quali has also set a time here, 34.0. And Man Ray currently 6th and off the track, as we are, of course, starting to see those times trickle in ever so slowly. Sage Figure of Speech has just crossed the line to set the 3rd quickest time of the day, a 1 minute 32.036. On the cusp, was breaching into the 1 minute 31. Sage Figure of Speech, of course, also having put up some sensational performances throughout this season ever since we begun. Sage Figure of Speech currently 3rd in the championship standings, tied with Loveness on 74 points. How about that? And speaking of Loveness, they're still in the pits, not quite giving it a push lap as yet. Sir Lancelot has a damaged wing coming back into the pits. Meanwhile, Tindo for Alpine has just crossed the line for the 9th quickest time, a 34.940. As Kaboza looks to gather themselves once again on their second push lap attempt. Goes up to 7th place, a 32.929 for Kaboza. Well, those are your first push laps, folks. Let's not forget Zotal, who managed to pit their teammate for the 4th quickest time of the day, 32.649 for the veteran Zotal, in the colors of Haas, of course. Marshy not far behind there, as you can see. Mex is the standard, as we've seen thus far since the start of proceedings, so we'll see how they fare. And Quali gave it a second push lap, and he found 3.5 tenths of a second. That their best time now is a 33.671. He jumps up a couple of spots, now up to 8th. How about that? In quali for the kick, Sauber with the 8th quickest time of the day. Tindo back into the pits with our man rate also on that in-lap. Zotal is presumably at this point also making their way back into the pit. So those are your first push laps, folks. So Zotal, better be careful not to go ramming into the back of that Alpine as they make their way back into the pits. Now, the remaining contenders, Sir Lancelot, Nuccio, are about to begin their push laps. Meanwhile, we'll hop on board with Donathan Laka to see what they can do. How much time has the magical musician put in as far as practice and simulations are concerned? Less than 11 minutes to go for the Williams Superstar to show us what he is made of. Let's see what those sectors look like. Slams the brakes. You can feel the tires screeching there into that slow right-hander. 26.611 is that benchmark there. I think Kaboza comparatively was a 26.1. And now we're going to see how Donathan Laka will fare. Faster sequence of corners coming up. Flat out through the throttle, through the right and left-hander. Here comes the heavy braking zone. Oof, almost making acquaintance with the wall there. But manages to keep it intact, keep it running. Now this is the kink of 13, the long DRS stretch. And will slam the brakes into turn number 14. Meanwhile, Thiago Maestro, Loveness, and the Nuccio are currently also on their push laps. Oh, takes a little bit of curve there. I can almost feel in some sense that rear left wheel almost losing contact with the track. But Donathan Laka is on track to complete their first push lap of the day. Goes up to P8 with the 33.544. How about that, folks? Let's see now how the veteran Tato, Loveness, will fare. Ahead of them is, of course, that Thiago Maestro, who we were on board with earlier on. They've ended their push lap earlier on. What can Thiago Maestro do now across the line? The answer is fifth quickest, 32.649. We'll hop on board instead to see the end of Loveness's push lap to see how they fare. Loveness on the limit. Loveness into the top three, 31.875. One of just 3 drivers in the 1 minute 31s. How about that? Loveness with a late push, lighting up the timing sheets here in Las Vegas. And the Nuccio has just crossed the line with a 34.4. That puts him in P13. Sir Lancelot is here. Their Sector 2 split was in the 56-second mark. Let's see now how they conclude the third and final sector. Did pick up some wing damage on their first push lap. Oh, was that contact with the wall over there? Oh, that was very, very close. I'll tell you what, Sir Lancelot getting acquainted there with the limits of the track, but it is still a push lap for Sir Lancelot. What'll it be? The answer is P9, 32.853 for the driver in the bright neon green Kick Sauber. The 86er Galala Tsang is content to stay in the pits as things currently stand. Meanwhile, Zotal is back on track, and they have found a 1/10 of a second at the end of the first sector. Rides the curve now. Oof, took perhaps a little bit too much curve there through 8. And now here comes Zotal. He's exited 9. It's going to be the flat-out right-hander of turn 10. Into 11, still flat out. When will he break? Oh no, doesn't quite nail it. Almost makes acquaintance with the wall. That'll cost Zotal a precious few tenths. And he is down. He is down. He's lost half a second. Has Zotal come the end of the second sector. But I tell you what, looks to be an abandoned push lap there. Not much deployment in the way of DRS or ERS. It is Max versus Duke. But Duke is a little bit further ahead, and Duke has found more than half a second at this point. 7 minutes of the session remaining. Mex has been the pace setter, but Duke will look to have something to say about that. Half a second worth of improvement would put Duke into the 1 minute 30s with less than 7 minutes of the session to go. Oh, Duke almost makes acquaintance with the wall there, driving absolutely on the limit. As I say that, he went over the limit. He has invalidated that push lap. Duke will have to try again. Good news for Mex. But those engineers will not be disturbing him. They will just keep telling him to keep doing what he's doing and find whatever inch, whatever margin, whatever advantage he could possibly eke out, trying not to get caught out the same way that Duke was, as he now looks to put on a barnstormer of a third and final sector. Less than 6.5 minutes of this session to go. It is Mex who was tops. Can he lay down the gauntlet even further? Yes, he can. 131.174 piles on the pressure to the rest of the pack. Meanwhile, Debo Crocodile is on their push lap. He's found almost a half a second worth of improvement. Billy Hendricks has joined the fray to make it a full complement of Ferrari drivers represented here. Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, possibly Debo Cayman, now looking to lay down their mark and put the top 7 under pressure. But can he do it with 5.5 minutes of the session to go? Yes, he can. He jumps up into the top 5 with a 32.155. How about that? Debo Crocodile with a snap. A snap of attitude, if we can put it that way. I'm trying to, think of a crocodile analogy, but not quite successful. Man Ray is on a build lap. Meanwhile, Peace, a.k.a. the Nucho, has chosen violence and has now begun their latest push lap attempt. And Quali, Tindo, the other contenders currently giving it a go in this Quali session. We'll catch up with them at another point. On board now with Nucho. Was careful there not to come unstuck. Nope. He's down is the Nucho by a factor of 2.5 seconds, so we're going to have to catch up with them at another point. Is Tindo quite pushing at this point? The answer is yes. And that's a slow-moving Ferrari of Billy Hendricks who gets out the way, but was it too little too late as far as Tindo is concerned? Did the Ferrari get out of the way quickly enough for Tindo to still be able to put on a challenge in this qualifying session? Currently 15th is the veteran Tindo. Can he find something now in these final 2 sectors? Down by almost 9/10 of a second. I beg your pardon, up from their previous best time. So Tindo looking to take a giant leap up the order. Will it be enough? Definitely will send him above in quali if he can keep it up throughout this third and final sector. Oh, Tindo. Oh, rides the curve there. Compromises the entry into the right-hander, but he still kept it going somehow. He was almost 9/10 up. Oh, makes a little bit of acquaintance with the wall and abandons that push lap altogether, which gives us time to hop straight on over to Billy Hendricks, who was late to the lobby, late to the fray, but will it be a late showing of superstar status? Time will tell. On board with the Scarlet Red Ferrari in the hands of Billy Hendricks. 3.5 minutes of this session to go. Well, as far as Billy Hendricks is concerned, you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance for pole. This opportunity comes late in the quality section to, well, paraphrase a certain rapper years ago. 26.142 is nothing to be scoffed at come the end of Sector 1. Billy Hendricks, will he be satisfied with that? Well, he needs to be inch perfect now. He will not get too many more opportunities. And as I say that, the exit out of the chicane was not the best. That'll cost him a precious few tenths. Billy Hendricks reeling, seething at that little snap that he had over there, but it is still a valid lap. But how dearly will he come to rue that moment, Billy Hendricks? 55.814 in the middle sector is that mark. We will see how Galalatang, the 86er, is faring on what might just be a one-shot quality as far as they're concerned as well. Here comes Billy Hendricks now into turn 14, braking zone, looking to nail it so as to not be compromised through the right-hander. On the limits is the Ferrari superstar, looking to make up for lost time and lost opportunities, now trying to tuck into the slipstream of the car ahead. What'll it be for Billy Hendricks despite the mistakes? P3, despite that huge moment that we saw. 31.681 is beautifully done into the top three for the Ferrari superstar. Galaxang, the 86er, Kagawati, is now making his way through the middle sector. Let's watch to see how the veteran 86er will fare in this oh-so packed and oh-so challenging lobby. Not the cleanest of the entries there. Sector 2 time, well off the pace, so well off the mark. Even that first sector was not competitive at all. It was in the 29 seconds it was for the 86er. Is that damage here to the front wing, or... Let's just look at those end plates. Might not be clear, but I think that front left end plate is gone. Yeah, 86er on their one and only push lap has taken heavy damage, and sadly it seems it will not be a very competitive effort there from the 86er. We'll see how they will fare as Zotal now looks to make their way towards the end. Marshy has retired. Is that the yellow sector that we see in Sector 1? Well, Marshy is out. 32.7 was the best that they could do. Here comes Zotal now into turn 14, heavy braking zone. What can the Haas superstar do? All of the main contenders are on almighty push laps. So let us see how it all pans out. Mex is the pace setter, 31.1, still in the pits. Zotal improves and goes up to P4, finding almost 9/10 of a second on their Hail Mary of a final push lap attempt. Duke, one of the contenders for pole position today, is still giving it an almighty go. Tiago is going to be on the brink for that final push lap. And Duke needs to find 3/10 minimum. We know what they're capable of, but the answer is, can it be done? Billy Hendricks, that is it as far as their quality is concerned. Ditto for Stitch Figure of Speech and Quali. Tindo, the 86er, still out on track. Donovan Laka also retires from the fray. Duke has found half a second, more than half a second, as Mex is pretty much done and dusted through this quality section. Duke needs to keep it on track and needs to keep it absolutely clean between now and the end of this lap. Just one mistake may yet be enough to put him out of contention. Oh, was on the limit there. Oh, touched the wall a little bit there, coming out of that final chicane. And I'll tell you what, Duke is leaving nothing to chance. Coming towards the line, crosses the line for the fastest time. It's a 131.155 by the skin of his teeth. Snatches pole position from Mex. How about that? Capoza is still out on track. But where are they? The answer is back in the pits. So let's check to see where the Nucho might be. They were improving, but they have abandoned that push lap. So there you have it, folks. It is Duke in pole position in Las Vegas. A 1 minute 31.155. How about that? Pole position, front row shared with Mex. Moteo Mekwa. Billy Hendricks in third. Loveness is going to start the race in fourth. Zotal and Capoza make up that third row. Debo Crocodile is alongside Stage Figure of Speech, who will start from 8th. Manray will start 9th. Starline for lot 10th. Tiago 11th. Marshy, Donovan Laka 12th and 13th. Nucho will start the race in 14th. And Quali 15th. Tindo 16th. And the 86er starts from the back of the pack. Glenn Carson, it's great to have you in the comment section. Nintendo Wii is in the comment section, cheering on none other than Mex, as always. That is qualifying, folks, in this beautifully fast circuit, a circuit which has speeds comparable to the Temple of Speed, as they call it, Monza. But it is a night race under the lights of Las Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in the comment section. What happens in Vegas stays in the Drivers' Championship standings as far as BrakeAway Racing League's All-Star season is concerned. Kid K is in the fray in the comment section. Good to have you along for the ride as well. It is a 17-driver contingent looking to put on a huge tussle and one heck of a show. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Las Vegas. Look at those margins. Just over 1/100 of a second between P1 and P2. And Billy Hendricks, who did very well, coming in very late to be just half a second behind those top two contenders. How about that? 3 sets of tires each for Mex and Duke, who were duking it out for that top spot. What a showing from them. Man Ray also using 3 sets of tires, as did Thiago Maestro, Donathan Lacka, and Tindo. There it is, folks. Loveness also with a lot of pace around the circuit. Look out for them in the race proper. Cannot wait, folks. I'd love to hear your thoughts on who might be the surprise of the day. Do you expect Loveness to wrestle their way onto the podium places? Tato, a.k.a. Loveness, is no stranger to fantastic showings, regardless of the conditions. Seems to really enjoy this track as the Aston Martin superstar. We'll be racing in Vegas up next. Welcome to BrakeAway Racing League. Welcome to race number 8 of the All-Star season. Las Vegas Grand Prix circuit. A total of 6.2 kilometers is the circuit, 17 turns, and a pit lane time loss of around 20.5 seconds. That is the average cost in time of a pit stop at this circuit. So once the pit window comes into play, we'll be watching that very, very closely. Of course, this being a treacherous track with the walls posing an ominous threat, don't be surprised if we see a safety car or two, depending on how this race unfolds. We've already seen some drivers, of course, the likes of the 86er, losing wings in qualifying, as did Sir Lancelot. Will that be the case when the race gets underway? But here we are, folks. It's 4 lights, 5 lights. The only time South Africans look forward to the lights going out. We are racing in Las Vegas. It is Duke versus Mex, who has the inside line going into turn 1. But Duke manages to hang on to the lead. Loveness has gained a position, and look at that. Billy Hendricks has tumbled down a couple of places now, looking to fight with their own teammates. Someone has gone off. It looks like Capoza took a really wide line, but he manages to keep it on track here. Look at Marcy. They're gained 4 places at the beginning of this race. On board now with Capoza running line astern from P1 to P5. Behind Capoza, it is a tussle. Oh no! Contact between a couple of drivers. Some lost wings, as you can see there in the midfield. Has Zoltan lost a wing? It looks like one of the Ferraris might have been compromised. The 86er is out. Billy Hendricks cuts the corner and gets a 10-second time penalty. Oh, what is going on? The virtual safety car is out before the end of the first lap. Pandemonium in Las Vegas under the lights. Sage figure of speech, one of the early casualties of that, having lost their wing, but gained a position since the start of this race. Debo Crocodile lost a position, but did they also suffer damage? That is the question. Billy Hendricks cut the corner egregiously, and that front wing completely obliterated, and bringing out that safety car. Well, expect a 1-stop race from medium to hard, or a 2-stop, depending on your tire choice. Well, folks, how about that? The virtual safety car is over. Everybody starting on a set of mediums. The 86er, the first and only casualty of this race, sadly. Meanwhile, Loveness, Mex, Duke are contending for the race lead. Look at Mex trying to put some pressure on Duke. He thought about it, but was not quite close enough to get that move done. The virtual safety car is over. The top 3 have a buffer of about 2.1 seconds between themselves and the chasing Capoza. How close? How feisty will it be? Oh, Mex goes off it on the outside and gets the overtake done, and Duke will now have to fight it out while trying to keep Tato, aka Loveness, at bay. Expect a lot of overtakes on these long stretches of the track where DRS comes into play. Heavy on the brakes for Loveness there, who will bide his time and hope that the top 2 feisty fighters will make contact and compromise their cars, compromise their races, so as to give himself the best of opportunities to take full advantage. Loveness, front row seats to this really entertaining, really feisty battle for the lead, and eventually, of course, the race win. Billy Hendricks, Man Ray, having suffered early on in this race, have come into the pits for a set of hard compound tires. Everybody else is on those mediums. It's 16 survivors remaining in this race. And as you can see on the bottom of Loveness' steering wheel, he is saving up that battery power as Duke dives on the inside and reclaims the lead of the race from Mex, who is just content to make sure that Loveness does not get too comfortable and does not get too close as far as this battle for the race win is concerned. Meanwhile, in the midfield, Thiago versus Nucho. Oh, little bit of a moment there coming through those slower corners. And it looks like Jonathan Laka is also looking to take full advantage here. Nucho, Thiago, Jonathan Laka running well within a second of one another. Don't forget, of course, Sid Figure of Speech has just come into the pits. Early pit stop for them. Tindo versus Sir Lancelot. Tindo was looking for the opportunity to overtake the Kick Sauber, but was not quite close enough to get that move done cleanly. Thiago has made sure that Jonathan Laka does not go on. There goes the Nucho side by side with Inquali. Will they make contact? They will! And through goes Thiago Maestro, taking full advantage of that moment of contact between the Mercedes and the Kick Sauber. Jonathan Laka wishes he was close enough to be able to follow Thiago through. Oh no! Contact Inquali and Jonathan Laka. It looks like Jonathan Laka came off second best. The Williams driver trying to regain a semblance of grip as Sir Lancelot behind them tries to catch up. Oh, Inquali lucky there that did not result in anything more dramatic than a slight loss of grip at that moment. Drama in Las Vegas in these early stages of this race. We've got so much racing still to go. 3 laps of a total 25 here in Las Vegas. Meanwhile, at the front, Mex and Duke keep on exchanging positions as we have seen. But what a sensational, entertaining race. Caboza versus Zotal. They make contact. These two fast friends make contact, and Zotal comes off second best, and that brings Devo Crocodile into the reckoning for that P4 spot, ostensibly. Zotal would not be happy with that. Zotal might have felt that he was driven into the wall, but it looks like Caboza did give the Haas driver a little bit of racing room. Devo Crocodile looking to take advantage as Zotal fights to keep the rear of that Haas in check. Caboza looking, that helmet bobbing to the left and to the right, looking into those rear view mirrors, trying to make sure that Haas does not come through. Zotal says, I will go side by side, and who will blink first into the braking zone? And Zotal gets that move done. Not too stressful, not too shabby, if I say so myself. It's all off and popping. It is all kicking off here in the 4th lap of a total 25. If you've just joined us, Mex and Duke are fighting it out for the lead of this race. They have been the 2 contenders at the front alongside Loveness, who has managed to stay in touch. Meanwhile, the battle for P4 is the one that we're watching now. We're on board with Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, possibly Debo Cayman, trying to make sure that he can have a say versus Caboza and Zotal. Oh, Debo Crocodile on the exit there, having a little bit of a moment with that car. And of course, about 2.7 seconds behind this trio of Debo, Zotal, and Caboza is Marshy, who is driving a quiet, lovely race with a little bit of a buffer both ahead of and behind them. Thiago Maestro, we saw their fight that they were having earlier on with the likes of Nucho, Jonathan Laka, currently P8. What a sensational move it was from Thiago, by the way. Meanwhile, Inquali versus Jonathan Laka. Inquali on the inside of the Williams. Inquali overtakes the Williams and goes up to P10. How about that for the Kick Sauber? Jonathan Laka will now have to fight back and reclaim that spot if you can. Meanwhile, Duke has eked out an advantage. Something must have happened with Mex. He was fighting it out for the lead, but Mex has fallen down. The P3 will catch back up with the leaders. This, of course, is the battle, however, for P9. This is Jonathan Laka, and ahead is Inquali, and just ahead of them is Venuccio. So there it is, folks. Everybody in the top 12 on a set of medium compound tires that they started this race with. Behind them, of course, Sage Figure of Speech, having had taken early damage, alongside Billy Hendricks and Sir Lancelot, as well as Man Ray. They are on a fresher set of hard tires. They are, of course, behind this action that we're watching. Oh, look at Inquali going for it on the outside. Seemingly was almost close enough to get that move done, but not quite. Close but no cigar for Inquali, who's looking quite racy out here in Las Vegas. A circuit that they are well and truly enjoying. Inquali looking to take advantage any opportunity that the Nucho would present, and Crowley would not hesitate. Back to the upper midfield, if you can call it that. Capoza versus Debo versus Zotal. Debo Crocodile has overtaken Capoza, who's trying to fight back now. Was P4 a couple of minutes ago was Capoza. Now struggling to stay in touch with Zotal, who is looking to stretch the legs of that hat, so to speak. Capoza trying to harvest their own energy as the red lights on the back of Debo is flashing. Oh, Capoza gets that line completely wrong, and Capoza is struggling to keep it on track. Struggling for grip is the RB, and losing all of those tenths, those precious few tenths of a second. Capoza was teetering on the brink of losing that DRS that he might have been able to take advantage of. So Capoza will have to fight back. Meanwhile, in Crowley versus Nucho, this battle has been raging and raging and raging, and Crowley on the outside, and Crowley is going to go for the audacious move, but not much room there, and Crowley had to relent and just bide their time. Nucho slamming the door shut, sending the kick Sauber driver along the longer outside line. So about that, battles all over the track, folks. Of course, the big one to watch very, very closely is all the way out in front. Duke has an advantage of a second and a half to Loveness, who was now trying to keep Moteo Mex at bay. That gap between Loveness and Mex is about, now 7 or 8 tenths of a second. Let's watch closely to see whether Mex might have taken some wing damage. It seems that front wing is still intact. So Mex off camera might have had some moments which compromised their fight for that P1 spot. In the early laps of this race, Mex was pretty much exchanging the lead with Duke, but does not have it so simple as this race is unfolding further and further. Mex, of course, in firm command control of this championship, 116 championship points leading, and Duke is really looking to claim the lead of this championship. Duke following behind on 99 championship points, while leading this race comfortably for Team McLaren. Duke in command. This is the vantage point from the championship leader, but the P3 running Mex, who has been given a huge headache today by Tato. Oh, as I say that, Tato almost making too much of an acquaintance with the wall there on a corner that has caught out many a driver. Mex has pretty much depleted all of their battery, trying to effect this overtake. Will he drain the last that remains of it? Side by side they go, and Mex goes up to P2 before the breaking point of turn number 14. Finally, Mex will be saying to themselves. Meanwhile, Debo Crocodile versus Zotal has just got the move done. Debo Crocodile now up to P4. We've seen Debo claw their way up this field, and Zotal, the latest victim of the charging Red Bull in that hands of Bongani and Guenya. Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo, and possibly Debo Kano. Zotal fighting back, not much battery power remaining, as you can see there in the bottom of that steering wheel. Just needs to recharge as much as they possibly can. Debo Crocodile, having a bit of a moment there. The rear of the Red Bull was really struggling. Zotal smells blood. Zotal using DRS on the inside, but the straight line speed and presumably battery power of Debo Crocodile means that Zotal, try as he might, does not have enough to overtake that Red Bull. What a moment that was. Debo Crocodile having to catch the rear of that car, and these two drivers have now created some breathing space between themselves and Capoza. That gap now 4.2 seconds and building. And as I say that, Capoza is under pressure from Zotal's teammate, Marshy, looking to give the V-Carb driver a lot to think about, a lot of headaches. This is the vantage point from the Haas in the hands of Marshy. Meanwhile, at the top of the field, Mex and Loveness have swapped places once again. Overtakes galore. Of course, these long stretches of DRS make it feel almost inevitable that You will see many changes of positions as this race continues to unfold. Oof. Oh man, both of these drivers having moments through the slower corners. Marshy now losing ground to Kaboza, who calls time on this set of tires and comes into the pits. First of the medium running drivers to say that will be that, and I will be coming into the pits. What'll it be for Kaboza at the end of lap 9? Yeah, confirmation of why he was falling so far down the field. A necessary wing change as well as a set of hard compound tires for Kaboza. And now is going to look to be put on the fight back of a century to get back into the reckoning for a decent haul of points here. Kaboza's pit stop means the Haas drivers are running line astern, but with a gap of 5.7 seconds between them. Zotal looking to reclaim what he would feel is his, that being the P4 spot. Zotal versus Debo Crocodile. Nine laps gone, folks. If you've just tuned in, it was Duke in pole position by a very small margin, less than a tenth of a second, as Zotal now uses DRS, and Duke is just happy to hang on to the coattails of the Haas and just make sure that when the opportune moment comes, he will be able to take advantage. Further down the field, it's Debo in 5th, Marshy is currently 6th, and Mex is the first of the top runners to come into the pits. Thiago currently in 7th place. When will they come into the pits? Debo Crocodile follows Mex's lead, also into the pits. And Quali, P8 today, looking very racy. We've seen some interesting moments as far as they're concerned. Seems to be struggling for grip in the 10th lap of a total 25. Sage figure of speech with that early pit stop is now going to be taking advantage of these drivers finally coming into the pits. Currently 9th with Kaboza behind them. But way behind, currently 6.5 seconds behind Sage figure of speech. Willie Hendricks is 11th. Tindo is currently running in P12 on those medium tires that they started this race with. Donovan Laka, 4-lap old hards, currently 13th. Nucho, brand spanking set of hard tires, 14th. Manray is running in P15. Sir Lancelot rounds off the pack, and it's going to be another pit stop. Second pit stop for Sir Lancelot. At this early stage of the race, taking wing damage. So there goes the brand new wing and a brand new set, or rather that used set of mediums from earlier on in this race. So that's Sir Lancelot. Sage figure of speech is now within touching distance of the Kick Sauber, which has yet to come into the pits. Race leading Duke calls time on their tires coming into the pits, and Loveness also is going to follow suit. Will Zotal risk it? Yep, the answer is Zotal is going to give it a longer push. And as the race leading Marshy, 10-second pit lane, 10-second penalty, I beg your pardon, for speeding in the pit lane. And Mex, who had pitted earlier than the top two, comes out just behind Duke, 1.7 seconds, with tires that are just 1 lap older. And where is Loveness? Loveness comes out behind Thiago Maestro. So work to do for Loveness, as well as Mex as well. Tindo gets the same penalty for speeding in the pit lane as we just saw Marshy get penalized with. It needs to be inch perfect from next year, as Duke's tires are still being warmed up fresh out of the pit lane. Duke trying to get those tires warmed up and get them into their optimum temperature. Mex through the slower corners, losing some ground to Duke. That gap was inching closer to the 1.3 second mark, but the longer Duke's outlap has gone, the further entrenched his advantage has become. That gap now almost 2 seconds as Duke reestablishes their advantage to the on-rushing Mex, who tried their best but not quite able to stay in touch with the absolutely scintillating pace that Duke has put on here. Sensationally done by Duke. Zotal finally coming into the pits means the net lead becomes the race lead for Duke and Mex, and we'll see where Zotal will come out. Remember, Zotal was fighting ostensibly for that P5 spot with the likes of Debo Crocodile, but it seems that as Zotal comes out the pits, he is within touching distance to Debo Crocodile and has a tire advantage of about 2 laps. So time will tell if that'll be a good call from Zotal. If you just make sure that Duke somehow wears himself out, Zotal will be there to take full advantage. And Crowley versus Lucho, round 2, round 3, round 4. These two have put on quite the show in this here race. Beautiful stuff by the superstars. And Crowley, just the 1 championship point this season so far. And Crowley got the 1 point all the way back in Australia. That was the 2nd race of the season. No points ever since. So, yeah, tonight, considering how racy he's looked, golden opportunity for the Kick Sauber driver. Loveness is on the inside of Thiago Maestro. Oh, space! Look at that! They both go careening into the wall, but Loveness comes off second best. What was that? Squeezed into the wall, Loveness will feel, and it's a huge crash in Las Vegas. Oh my gosh! They were fighting for it, and Thiago perhaps was trying to close the door. Contact sent Loveness into the wall, and the Aston Martin driver came off second best. Loveness, or rather Thiago, will have to change their wing and possibly have a long word with the stewards when all is said and done. Huge crash here in Las Vegas, but somehow Thiago survived. Thiago survived, and the safety car will bunch the pack up together. Thiago, I'll tell you what, Caboza will say thank you very much, as will Donathan Laka. We're on 7-lap old hards. It's going to be a brand spanking set of mediums for them. And Quali also, Quali opts to keep track position. Billy Hendricks comes in for a fresh set of mediums. We saw what kind of pace Billy Hendricks had earlier on in qualifying. What'll it be for Billy now? Golden opportunity as Loveness becomes the second casualty of the day. A 3-second time penalty to boot for Thiago. Oh, Loveness will be absolutely seething. Tato, a.k.a. Loveness. The Prince of South Africa says, we are so back. Safety car bailing out Caboza as usual. 13 laps gone, folks. What a sensationally dramatic moment. We do commiserate with Loveness, who was having the race of the ages. In contention there for those top 2 spots was Loveness. I'll tell you what, this is fantastic news for Mex and Debo Crocodile. Mex, of course, was already in the fight for the podium places. Debo Crocodile, Zotal, Marshy. What a golden opportunity this is to fight it out for those podium places. Safety car, all 15 remaining contenders will bunch up behind the safety car, as you can see. And then when it comes in, Duke will dictate the pace. Duke will determine when the race will get back underway. Oh, man. Marshy speeding in the pit lane, and Marshy opts to retire the car. Not sure if that was Marshy anticipating the wrath of the stewards, or if, I beg your pardon, Thiago retiring there, or if Thiago had suffered too much damage in that crash with Loveness. But what a sensational moment. Thiago, now the latest casualty of this race. 3 drivers out, and Thiago being out, of course, is fantastic news for Marshy, Caboza, and Quali. Well. A beautiful day as far as points are concerned. Tiago confirming too much damage to the underbody. Floor of that car having taken absolutely sensationally remarkable damage. We're under the safety car. If you've just joined us, it is Duke from Debo Crocodile from Mex for the contention of the race win. Zotal fourth, Marshy with Caboza, P6. We'll be looking forward to taking full advantage where he possibly can. And Quali, 7th. Remember, in Quali, just a 1 championship point. If you can stay here or thereabouts. And Quali, with wing damage, has opted to stay out. And Quali will definitely be tumbling down the order. Should have just come into the pits, perhaps, and fought their way back up from P14. And Quali probably won't last long once we get into those slower corners, but that'll hold up Sage Figure of Speech, who is currently 8th, Donovan Lacka 9th, Billy Hendricks 10th, so the Ferrari drivers looking to fight back up. The Nuccio 11th, Man Ray 12th, then we have Tindo and Sir Lancelot. Why didn't anyone pit for softs? Asks the Prince of South Africa. Well, early days. Still a lot of racing to go. Many laps. Many laps still to go. And on those long DRS stretches into those hard braking zones. Yeah, those soft tires might have been screaming towards the end. But of course, perhaps the point that the Prince of South Africa is making is that still not a significant chunk of these laps behind the safety car. And perhaps it's worth gambling on a set of softs. Tindo says, nope, I'll put on these used hard tires. Look, it is a worthy gamble that the Prince of South Africa is bringing up. If you're gambling on the fact that between now and the end of this race, as things get feisty, we will have, at the very least, another VSC. Or another full safety car. Before all is said and done, it is not impossible on this track, which is treacherous. And those walls are absolutely treacherous. So Tindo is going to be fighting it out with Sir Lancelot. Tindo, a veteran of the earliest days of BrakeAway Racing League, as is Man Ray, and of course Zotal. Some of the longest lasting members of BrakeAway Racing League. How well will they fare? How far can they go before all is said and done? Pretty soon we should be getting the word that the safety car will be in from race control. And then we will be getting this race back underway. There it is. Safety car is in at the end of this lap. So says race control. Let us see how exactly Duke dictates the pace and how exactly the race restart will go. Oh, look at that. The Nuccio was having a bit of a moment at the back there. The Nuccio almost making contact with the back of the Ferrari through that overhead shot that we got. The cars weave to the left and to the right, trying to work those tires into temperature. When will Duke put the pedal to the metal? The answer is now, as they come through the final corner. Debo Crocodile versus Mex versus Duke. Zotal for the win, said the 86er. Will that be the case? Time will tell. The top three running in formation. Zotal looking to drag along their teammates and make sure that it is a half 4-5 at the very least. Oh, there goes Mex through on Debo Crocodile. Now up to P2. Mex now looking to fight Duke for the race win. And can they hold on to that? Caboza fought off in Quali. Caboza now up to P6 on those fresh set of medium tires. The top three drivers running without too much of a fuss. Meanwhile, in the midfield, it is plumes of tire smoke being kicked up by the likes of Zotal and Marshy and the like. The Nuccio is out. The Nuccio has crashed out of this race at the restart. It's a yellow flag. It's not another safety car, thankfully. And we're still racing, still running, still pushing out here in Vegas. Six figure of speech trying to keep Jonathan Laka at bay. As this fight goes down to the wire. Side by side, Six Figure of Speech versus Inquali, who has the inside line. Inquali's not going to give it up, but Six Figure of Speech might just have got it done. Inquali leaving nothing to chance. They're side by side, giving each other all the racing room in the world. Six Figure of Speech tries he might, can't get rid of Inquali, and Inquali has to concede as they come into the braking zone here. Meanwhile, Marshy and Zotal running line astern still, with the front row seats to the battle for the lead of this race. There in the distance goes Duke versus Mex, and into the first corner. Mex not quite close enough to get that move done. We'll stay on board with the top three here. It is Debo Crocodile watching Mex, going for it on the inside now of Duke. Side by side they get. Oh, sensational stuff. And Duke perhaps is content to let Mex have the lead of this race, unless, of course, that battery power is starting to get compromised. Nope. It seems that Duke is just content to let Mex drain their battery, if that is the case. 17 laps gone, a lot of racing still to go. They both ride those curves through these slower corners, and Mex not quite on the apex through this slower left-hander. Duke just content to save their battery power while keeping Debo Crocodile at bay as much as they possibly can. Top two separated by less than half a second. Debo Crocodile fighting to cling on to the coattails of these top two contenders. Mex in the lead of this race with 17 laps gone, but for how much longer? Duke comfortable enough to still be weaving left and right, trying to get a semblance of temperature into those tires. Zotal is now within touching distance. Possible overtake here between Zotal and Debo Crocodile. Zotal has drained all of their battery, trying to effect something versus the Red Bull, but not quite close enough as they come into the slower corners now. Zotal huffing and puffing, trying to prove the 86er right. Galalatsang cheerleading as far as Zotal's prospects are concerned, but try as he might, he is on the limit. Zotal is on the inside. Zotal is on that pedal to the metal tip, but not quite close enough, as their teammate is also trying to have a say here in these final laps of this race. Oh, beautiful stuff. Everyone running line astern. Six Figure of Speech versus Capoza, also within touching distance of one another. Who's going side by side a little further ahead? Oh, it was almost Zotal and Debo Crocodile, but not quite doing so at this moment. Even Man Ray is having a say there. Oh no, Mex in the lead of this race has got a 3-second time penalty. And in a race which is also tight between now and the checkered flag, that is not good news for Moteo Mekwa Mex at all. Mex will be kicking themselves, and Mex will be hoping and praying that Duke follows suit and also gets themselves penalized. Nintendo Wii in the comment section, wailing, crying, lamenting that time penalty that Mex just got. Meanwhile, Zotal versus Debo Crocodile, side by side they go again. Zotal tries, he might, there's no battery power left. The straight line speed of Debo Crocodile, is it too much to handle? Debo relents. Oh, three-way side by side, including Marshy, who's on the inside of their teammates, and that's a double overtake by Marshy. It's breathless stuff, and here comes Capoza. Six Figure of Speech now, looking to have a say in this battle for P3. It's sensational stuff here in Las Vegas. Six Figure of Speech has the inside. It's pedal to the metal through the final corner. They're close, but they're not making any contact. It's a sensational five-way fight over here, and even Jonathan Laka is looking to have a say, but will he be close enough? Beautifully done by all these five contenders. I can barely believe what I'm seeing over here. Look at the respect they're affording each other in these treacherous circumstances. The walls are calling your name, but not a hint of contact between these five as they come into the braking zone. The two Hasses are in prime position for that P3 spot, but look at that. Debo Crocodile looking to fend off Six Figure of Speech, who himself is trying to keep Capoza at bay. Can barely keep my breath at this 19th lap, which is serving up a feast of sensational racing and racecraft between these experienced contenders who are putting on an almighty show here under the lights in Las Vegas. Would you look at that? Marshy, Zotal, Debo Crocodile, Six Figure of Speech still running line astern. Jonathan Laka not quite getting the best moments through that corner there. Kapoza has the front row seats to this fatal five-way that we are seeing. Haas is cooking, says the Prince of South Africa in the comment section. Absolutely, because Haas is just trying to keep those guys at bay. Oh, Zotal has no battery power, and Cinch Figure of Speech overtakes Zotal, who has really drained all their battery. Tindo has crashed out of this race. Or was it a pit lane retirement? Tindo is out. Regardless, Tindo, the latest casualty, joining the likes of Nucho Maestro and the 86er. Look at that. These five still going at it. Oh no! Huge contact between Debo and Cinch Figure of Speech. Will that give Kaposa some leeway? Oh no! Kaposa goes careening into the back of that Ferrari, losing a little bit of their wing, has Kaposa, but he's still fighting side by side through the fast right-hander. Did Kaposa make a little bit of contact with the wall there? He is still giving it an almighty go. Oh, this is not the first time that the superstar red V-Carb driver has lost that front wing end plate. Now has to hang on for these remaining 5 laps. Breathless stuff here towards the end of this showcase in Las Vegas. Oh, Kaposa has really lost so much of their downforce here, which is sending him all over this track. And he was a protagonist in this 5-way fight, but sadly Kaposa is seemingly not going to be able to take too much of a part. But even Zotal in that huge tussle, also having lost their front right wing end plate, or rather, front right wing end plate for Zotal there. So also going to have to work their tail off to hang on to this mini DRS train that we've seen that served up some absolutely sensational entertainment. If you've just joined us, oh man, what an absolute classic you have joined on. Kaposa, Zotal, Kaposa now up to P6 after that huge moment. Cinch Figure of Speech is side by side with Debo Crocodile. Oh, what a moment that was. Cinch Figure of Speech surges up to P5. Can it be P4? They're side by side, a little bit of contact. And it's Cinch Figure of Speech, who now races up to P4. Marshy has a time penalty. Mex has a time penalty, but Marshy is way behind Mex. Evil Crocodile is not going to go down without a fight. It's Wednesday action night. Just 4 laps or so of racing to go. I'll tell you what, it has been breathless stuff despite the DNFs. Wandal Chessie says BrakeAway is still the Royal Rumble. Absolutely. Wandal Chessie, it's good to see you in the comment section. And, Wandal, of course, another superstar, another alum of the BrakeAway Racing League stable. Debo Crocodile has put on a heck of a show here in qualifying, in the race, involved in so many highlights. And I'll tell you what, this will be one to go back to and watch very, very closely as far as entertainment is concerned. The 86er remarking on that Cinch Figure of Speech. I'll tell you what a race it's been from the Ferrari driver. To give you a sense, Cinch Figure of Speech gaining 4 positions since the start of this race, as has Nquali, of course. Nquali taking advantage of the DNFs. Look at that, Marshy, 9 places gained since the start of this race. Of course, there have been some lucky moments as far as safety cars and incidents between other drivers, but I'll tell you what, it's nothing to be scoffed at. Beautifully done by Marshy. Now, Debo Crocodile versus Cinch Figure of Speech. Oh, Cinch Figure of Speech loses the rear there and has to catch it with all that he has there, driving through gritted teeth, grinding his teeth underneath that helmet. He's lost about 1 millimeter, but I'll tell you what, he'll be very, very grateful that car is still intact. Wandal Chessie, thank you for the kudos. Fantastic to have you on board in the comment section. Let's go on board now with Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, possibly Debo Cayman, Cinch Figure of Speech. Oh, it took a drifting line into that stole corner, struggling. Also having had some of their wing compromised. And as you can see from the vantage point of Debo Crocodile, it is a battle of wits and a test of nerves here to see who can keep it together between now and the checkered flag. Cinch Figure of Speech really drifting. Oh, as Debo Crocodile also has a moment on the exit of that corner that we saw. Front wing still intact for Debo Crocodile. So we'll be happy with that. But we've seen Some absolutely sensational heart-in-mouth moments since the start of this race. This track chows tires, says Tindo. Commiserations with Tindo there, one of the latest casualties of this race. Sadly, out of contention. Beautiful track, treacherous track, it must be said. Now it's a fatal four-way, stage figure of speech, Debo Crocodile, Capoza, and Marshy. It's a four-way fight for that final podium spot. How in the world is Capoza holding off Zotal, asks the Prince of South Africa. Of course, both of Zotal and Capoza having suffered wing damage. They've both lost their wing end plates. So they're both doing very well to be keeping it on track and intact here somehow. Capoza, plenty of practice he's had in terms of driving without a front wing. Of course, before the safety car, Capoza had pitted. Well, not sure if Capoza took advantage of the safety car to pit and change their wing. That was earlier on in this race. Still, a close one. Sage figure of speech took a heavy dose of curb over there. Still running. Devo Crocodile now saved up some battery power, deploying some battery power as Sage Figure of Speech looks to fight it out. It's a three-way fight. Sage Figure of Speech in the middle. Sage Figure of Speech now up to P3, and Marshy, who was in that prime spot, now drops 2 positions in the space of a single stretch of the track. Beautifully done by Sage Figure of Speech. Devo Crocodile hanging on to the coattails of that scorching scarlet red Ferrari. Can he effect an overtake now in the penultimate lap of this race? Devo Crocodile looking to go for the podium. Sage Figure of Speech will not make it easy. Marshy will look to cause them mayhem. Marshy on the outside of this right-hander, which would have been flat out in different circumstances. Devo Crocodile struggling for grip, takes a wide line on the exit. Marshy looking to give Devo Crocodile a lot of headaches, but Bongani and Gwenya is looking to somehow claw his way back and snatch that P3 from Sage Figure of Speech. Hoping for a miracle is Devo at this stage of this race. Takes a touch of the wall, does Marshy over there. And would you look at that, not quite close enough to effect something versus, Devo Crocodile. Sage Figure of Speech has a huge snap on the exit of the corner before the straight. Devo Crocodile, golden opportunity to have a say, to have an opportunity. But Marshy thought about it, not quite close enough. Marshy's gonna look to make it a three-way into this corner. They crash into the back of Sage Figure of Speech. Marshy completely totals their front wing, and here comes Devo Crocodile. Here comes Capoza at the death. How on earth did he do that? Capoza makes it a big carp 2-3. Capoza with a sensational move, taking advantage of that huge moment of pandemonium, but Sage Figure of Speech will have the advantage. Here goes Devo Crocodile now towards the line. It's congratulations, Duke, but we have to watch this. Devo Crocodile into the silver corner. Its wings flying. It's the 2 Hasses into the wall. Zotal and Marshy absolutely totaling their prospects. And through goes the likes of Donathan Laka on Marshy. Duke is now going to be beginning the final lap of this race. I can barely keep my breath. Oh my gosh, Sage Figure of Speech versus Devo Crocodile versus Capoza, who was overtaken, if that is the term. Capoza was in P3 a couple of seconds ago. Team Haas, Kid K lamenting what he's just seen from the likes of Zotal and Marshy, who completely lost it and made acquaintance with the wall again. Marshy is out of the race, and that'll promote Nkwali into the points. Zotal becomes the latest casualty of that 3-second time penalty. Breathless stuff here in Las Vegas under the lights. I'll tell you what, these guys have put on an absolute show. Sage Figure of Speech again versus Devo Crocodile. This is one to watch as Christopher Sakal Mkeys, aka Crash, is lamenting what he's just seen as far as Team Haas is concerned. Sage Figure of Speech versus Devo Crocodile now. Less than a second between Sage Fig and Capoza, who is looking to have a savior. This is the last lap of the race. It's a last chance saloon. It's a last gasp over here in Las Vegas. We have to congratulate Duke, who wins the Las Vegas Grand Prix. And Mex is going to come home and, oh, in the final lap, look at that. This figure of speech totals their car. Can Composer take advantage? It's side by side now. It's the battle for P3. Looks like Debo Crocodile will have that done. Meanwhile, Composer versus Stitch Figure of Speech. Composer will come undone by that time penalty. Here comes Stitch Figure of Speech for P4. Composer slips down to P6. Donovan lack a fifth. Man Ray comes home in P6. Composer 7th. Zotal 8th. Sir Lancelot 9th. And Quaffley 10th. Billy Hendricks. Billy Hendricks rounds off the field in P11. Oh my word, what a race. Composer is a tap-in merchant, says the Prince of South Africa. Composer, is he just standing at the far post looking to take advantage of those headers that Arsenal keep on looping in? Man, oh man, oh man. 25 laps of breathless action. It is Duke who wins this race, congratulated by their teammate Tiago in the comment section. What a race, says Kid K. I tell you what, it has been an absolute classic. Classic. Donovan Lacka voted driver of the day. Commiserations to Marshy. They would have been presumably voted driver of the day had they kept their car intact. Yeah, look, if they could join this commentary box, I'll stay here for a couple of minutes. In case these drivers are in the mood to chat. I'll tell you what, Duke put on a heck of a show. Towards the end of the race, most of the action was in the midfield. Yeah, Duke, congratulations there. Another cool, calm, composed performance. Absolutely sensationally done. Titus says, you know what, give credit to Man Ray. He's been under the radar for a while, and he came out now in the top 10. Bongani Debo Crocodile says, I am sweating. I'll tell you what, Bongani Debo Crocodile, it was a breathless race. One that will be absolutely sensational from the vantage point of watching it back. 15 points for Debo Crocodile, and I'll tell you what, is the first person to join us in the commentary box. Congratulations, Debo Crocodile. You started P7. You ended up on the podium. How on earth was that from your perspective? All right, Debo Crocodile, you might be muted. Just check your headphone settings. We're not hearing you at all. So while Debo Crocodile looks to see if they can unmute their microphone. Yeah, here it is. Debo Crocodile, how was that from your perspective? Congratulations on the podium.
That was absolutely wild. I'm sweating. It was incredible, but wow, what a race. What a race.
Just take us through some of those battles, man. And Kaboza at the end, almost coming in clutch. You were under pressure from Zota, Sage Figure of Speech. Just your vantage point on those battles.
You see, there's the one there at the end. I thought, like, where he hit me, because he had DRS, but I had stored up so much battery. I thought, nah, maybe I'll manage on the straight. I think he just missed his braking point, because I tried to...
Is this Sage Fig, by the way? Sorry?
Yeah, Sage Fig. Yeah, he almost put me on the wall there. Yo, but that was very close. I'm lucky. Luckily, he's a clean driver, you know. I always like my battles with Zotile, Topoza, Sage, because I think they're fairly clean, so you get to enjoy those battles as hectic as they can get. And then Marshy as well. Yo, he almost caused headaches for all of us there. Those are, in fact, I wonder what happened, because there was a stage, I think Sage must have been trying to harvest some battery, because he was moving slow on the straight. I think that's when Marshy rammed him in the back there.
All right. By the way, Debo, if you can add Duke, I don't have his new gamer tag. If you can add Duke to this party chat, I don't have him as a friend. I have his old ID.
Let me do that. Okay, Mex is unliving. Yeah,
I've got him. As you do that, what a race that was, Mex. You were in pretty much in you had a pole position. Almost, and then you were pipped at the death of quali there by Duke. Just let us know, number one, how you felt towards the end of that quali session, and how your race panned out. Eventually, you escaped the mayhem behind you.
Thank you, Tyson. Firstly, welcome back. It's lovely to have you on commentary.
Awesome.
Um, with the qualifying, I feel like I just knew I'd be P2. Duke is insanely quick. I actually thought he'd go into the 30s, so I'm actually quite surprised how close P1 and 2 were in qualifying, and I'm quite happy with my lap.
Yeah, man. And you were in a huge tussle there. Sadly, Loveness Tato didn't survive the race. It looked like you two would have been quite close and fighting it out quite a lot throughout the race. But was his DNF really crucial to how the end of your race panned out, or did it feel touch and go as well with some of the other drivers?
I feel like Duke Loveness and I had a good train going in the beginning. Just wanted to swap out and pull a gap from the rest of the field. And then at the end of the main straight, Loveness at some point, I don't know if it's connection or what, but then we lost time to Duke. And as soon as we got out of Duke's DRS, yeah,
Ah, man,
decided to
man.
P2. We were catching him, the two of us. Then unfortunately, he DNF'd.
Yeah, yeah. And coming into this race, was this one of the, considering especially your performance in quali, was this one of the tracks where you felt sort of comfortable and strong?
This is one of my good tracks. I don't have much practice on it, but it is a track I quite enjoy,
Yeah.
and feel quite confident in some areas. But yeah, it was a good
Wow.
performance. I think I'm still first in championships,
Yep, yep,
pending, yeah,
yep.
after the race.
It
So
was
hopefully,
a healthy enough a gap, I think, to probably still keep you there. Duke has been dipping in and out of the commentary box. Let's just touch base to see if we can possibly hear Duke. Duke, congratulations, P1. A fairly comfortable race as far as you're concerned. Let us know if you can hear us. Just a radio check there, Duke.
Okay, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful. Congratulations. Just take us through that quali. It seemed you might have had an incident on your final run, but you still managed to get that pole position lap. So just take us through quali number one. It was very close between you guys, and how it felt essentially after creating that gap in the race.
Okay, so in quali, I think on my second run, I was almost 6 tenths up, and then I made a mistake in the final corner, so I invalidated the lap. So on the final run, I was also about, I think, half a second up. And then when I got to the final corner, I took it so cautious, but I still hit the wall. And then I lost a
Ah,
lot of time. And then I lost a lot of time on the exit of the corner. So in my mind, I was like, that's pole position gone. But somehow I managed to clinch it by, I think, less than half a tenth or so. And then in the race, my strong point is usually always in the second stint. In the first stint, I'm usually always finding my feet. So the plan was to work with Mex and then Loveness as well. So
yeah,
just swap the RS because the race wouldn't be won in the first 5 to 10 laps. So that was the plan, which was working successfully. But then I was trying to pass Mex so that I exchange DRS with him. And then I also saw Loveness going for the move as well. So I was like, okay, these are going to have to fight together. So this
yeah,
might be my
yeah,
chance to pull away, which
yeah,
I
yeah,
did.
yeah,
And then when the safety car came out, I was quite annoyed because it resets the whole grid and
yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah,
So and then the hard tires are very hard to warm up, especially on this track. I think it took me like 4 laps or so. But all throughout the race, I noticed I was very quick on the streets compared to Max. Like even with DRS, he was losing time to me. So I said, okay, if I pass him, I'm going to try to push the following lap and see if I can break DRS, which I managed to do. But by
yeah,
then he
yeah.
already had the 3 second penalty. So I'm like, okay, fair enough. Even if I finish second, I would still win.
Man, and what a performance eventually that was. Duke, beautifully, beautifully done. I'm sure you'll see when you watch back behind you, there was a lot going on in the fight for the podium, especially that battle for P3. Mex also managed to put on a heck of a show over there. Tiago says we must tell you kudos, kudo blood, says Tiago Maestro in the comment section. And and yes, I want to come back to Debo. Is Debo still in this chat? It's Qatar up next. How are you feeling about your prospects there, considering your strong showing here? Is Debo still in the? No. Let me see.
Oh yeah, Mike. Tyson.
there
he is.
Yeah. Before I get to Qatar, I almost forgot. After the safety car, I don't know what happened between Duke and Max, but then it led me past Max, and then I moved to P2. But I knew that it's unfair, so I was like, "Nah, Max, take your position, go fight this man."
Yeah.
I got break. Actually, I
Yeah.
didn't even
Oh,
know what. I got
it was
break.
a honest mistake.
What happened there?
Okay, so it was a honest mistake. Yeah. The data cable from my pedals to the wheel disconnected. So I was trying to fix it, and that was when Max ran into the back of me. But it was a honest mistake.
Yeah, I could tell. That's why I was like, nah, this is unfair on Max. Now I'm gonna keep him back, and you gone. So I was like, nah, let's give him a fair chance. But yeah, speaking of Qatar, I think too many people are fast there. Probably not gonna be any safety cars, but I'm looking forward to it. It's one of the tracks I'm okay at, I'd say.
All right. And next, Qatar, before I come on to Duke.
One of the tracks I practiced a lot as well. Hopefully, I still have it in me to be quick there. I don't think I'll be as fast as previous times, but yeah, give it a shot.
Wow. And finally, Duke.
Yeah, I think Qatar is totally different to today since it's high downforce. I think it should be one of my favorite tracks as well. But I think I've only raced there once, and then I lost the win to Siege due to penalties. So I plan to rectify that.
well, we'll see if that'll be the case. Duke in fighting mood, looking to right past wrongs next time out in Qatar. Gentlemen, congratulations to each of you. What a sensational showcase you put on. Beautiful stuff. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy watching that back. We will catch you next week. And the same goes for all of you who have been in the comment section. Thank you, Kid K, Tiago Maestro, the Prince of South Africa. Thank you, Man Ray, beautifully done there, as well as Titus, who has been with us. Thank you to Crash. Tindo has been here, as well as Nintendo Wii, or Tendo, who was cheering on Mex, Glenn Carson, Titus, and Mandla, and Hloni as well. Thank you very much. We will catch you once again, 8 p.m. Central African time next week, Wednesday, in Qatar. The Prince of South Africa, ready and waiting to be toxic in the comment section. Well, we'll see how that goes. Thank you, everybody, and good night.